First of all, I'd like to just make a very quick recap of what the program is all about. The Intra-ACP Agricultural Policy Program, or the short acronym would be Intra-ACP APP, is an European-funded program under the 10th EDF, which means the last EDF. So the Intra-ACP Agricultural Policy Program is a joint program between CTA, the Secretariat of the Pacific Community, or SPC, and ICA, the Inter-American Agency for Agriculture in the Caribbean. So the program has three components based in three regions, 2 regions plus CTA. What we're looking at is the whole exchange between the Caribbean and the Pacific. So it is important to know that we work in the 2 regions, Pacific and the Caribbean, but most of all, it is important to know that this is one single program. It is a one program, but with 2 components based in the Pacific and the Caribbean. So far, this program is encouraging this kind of exchange that we have at the moment, where we have the Bridgetown, the Barbados conference from the 2nd to the 6th of November, which brings together all the stakeholders from the Caribbean and from the Pacific to come together, and then in the area of agriculture and also in other areas such as climate change, but more of an agricultural perspective of climate change, nutrition and food security, value chain. So we look at all the different aspects that surround agricultural sector. So this program brings us together to look at common solutions, because we are both island nations and we are both island regions, and we are faced with similar challenges, such as high bill of food import. That's a main challenge that we have in the Pacific and also in the Caribbean. We are faced with a high rate of NCDs, non-communicable diseases, and this is due to many different consequences that are out there. For example, overeating, but also eating unhealthy food. Yeah, so these are some of the examples that both regions are faced with. And we also have, high deficit in trade. So that's the reason why the purpose of the whole program is to make sure that we bring both regions together, Caribbean and Pacific, and to exchange our experiences, but also to learn from each other and, to move ahead together. And for example, if Caribbean has developed a very good policy in one particular area, that could be replicated in the Pacific, but all adapted to the local context of the Pacific. We've seen that so far under this program, Intra-ACP Agricultural Policy Program, that we've organized a series of events already where we highlighted the small islands' needs, especially Caribbean and the Pacific. We've started in Ethiopia, where we've participated in IFPRI 2020 conference on resilience in food and nutrition security, but we were more interested in looking at the island perspective of that topic. And then we went to Fiji this year. We've organized together with our component, which is based in Fiji with SPC. We organized the Pacific Community Agritourism Week, during which we had the Agribusiness Forum as well. And now we're here in Barbados, where we continue on that level. So overall, Intra-ACP Agricultural Policy Program is not a one-off event, as you would just go to a place for Talk Fest and then you go and then it's finished. No, Intra-ACP Agricultural Policy Program, I'd like to remind that it's a series of events. So every event that we do, every conference that we do, there is a follow-up. So it has to build and leverage on a higher scale, or it has to bring to a concrete solution. So that is the reason why we're here today, and this activity is part of the overall activities that we've done already since the program has started. The overall outcome of this Bridgetown conference, the Caribbean Pacific Agri-Food Forum, as you know, we have several different sessions going on at the same time. We have sessions on value chain, we have sessions on policy, we have sessions on nutrition. We also have some sessions on building successful agribusiness, but we're also looking at the agri-finance. I think overall we look at all different challenges that we face in the Pacific and in the Caribbean. So the overall outcome will take into account all these different workshops and see the loopholes where if there's one region that is stronger in one area or not, then we will combine all of this together and we'll come up with an outcome that we will have to take it forward. So from here, after Bridgetown, we are looking to do a similar event in the Pacific, but The final outcome will come out when we finish when we complete the learning journey that it is going on after the conference here in Bridgetown. So we're planning to go to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and then we're going to Jamaica after that to complete the whole package here in Bridgetown. And then from there we will come up with a final outcome. But overall, the outcome looks really bright. So we're looking forward to that. We will be able to share it with the Pacific and the Caribbean, but also with other stakeholders that are part of this conference. And then from there we will determine what's the way forward. But already we can already say that next year we're looking at repeating the same event in the Pacific to learn from different experiences in the Pacific, where we bring our farmers and stakeholders together as we do here in the Caribbean. I'm really glad that you bring that up. That the experience from Indian Ocean. This is really important because the project, although it says that it's an exchange between the Caribbean and the Pacific, we also have to look from elsewhere. But especially that elsewhere is the similar type of environment that we have in the Pacific and in the Caribbean, and that's the reason why we invited Seychelles to come over and showcase one of the good case studies in fisheries. And as you know, in Fiji we also have the Seychelles people from the Ministry of Tourism, but also private sector in the tourism that were in Fiji. So that's the reason why we bring them again, because one of the purpose of this Intra-ACP agricultural policy program is also to learn from the African experience and Indian Ocean experience. And that's the reason why we involve them, because we see in fisheries that they have a very good model that works for them. And why not Caribbean and why not the Pacific? So we are really going to bond with them, with the Indian Ocean islands, and why not elsewhere? I'm thinking of Cabo Verde, but we can also look into building, partnerships with these Indian Ocean islands, but also Western African islands, where we can work and develop projects, because sometimes they are quite advanced in some areas that we don't, and we need to be able to share that experience. And this can only happen, or can happen, when you have a will behind it and you have faith to do it. I'm sure you will do it.